Hello, my friends. This is me, Antonio, and I'd like to walk you through the implementation of the terms and conditions for my app, Pray4me. A little bit of a background for this app. This is an app I've been working for the past, well, the first release I had for this app was I think 6 years ago. And since then, every now and then when I have an idea or I want to experiment something, I just come here, code it, and then I ship it. But I think the last release I had for this app, it's well, I will not even try to remember when it happened. But anyway, now I managed to update the app database structure. I used to have MongoDB plus Node.js, and now I'm moving away from this stack and I'm using Firebase Firestore in order to persist all the data for the app. But as I was about to release this version, I just realized, okay, well, it should be nice to have it terms and conditions. And actually, by the way, thanks to my friend Carlos, he mentioned that to me. So it's very important to have these terms and conditions. So basically the implementation will be like this. We'll have probably a checkbox, a radio or something, a toggle probably, yeah, using iOS switch components. And we also have a button where the user will be able to read that terms and conditions that will be displayed using a web view page. Okay, let's go. So now check for information and let's check the code. Okay, so we have here modules. So we have a module, and probably I think this is going to be placed on. And this button is. So let's zoom in a little bit, not that much. What's your space from the top? I think there's no space. Yeah, no space, just this. All right, and here we go. This is the space from the bottom. Okay. I think it's nice if we have this right below the login button, and then we can push everything a little bit up. Let's try 65. Okay, should be okay. And we can have a button right here plus plus a label saying, okay, I agree to the terms and conditions, right? We can use the switch for the time being. Later on we could maybe have a better design, but I think for now it's more than enough. So okay, let's go. I'll drag this right here. It's beautiful. And okay, and I will also add a label, which is the label saying, okay, I agree to the terms and conditions. Okay. I agree. Oops. Agree to the terms and conditions. Okay, that's what we want. Okay. And what I want to have is that we will only have this button enable, the login button enable, if the user taps and confirms that they agree with the terms and conditions. Okay, so let's add those two boys into a stack view. Okay, and now I'll just create this gap, vertical spacing. Okay, oops, by space to the bottom as well, not this one. Vertical spacing. Let's see if I got what I know. Oh yes, this. Let's use this guy and space to the bottom. Yes. We also need 2 extra constraints to the margin. I will tell that they can be greater or equal to 8, right? Add constraint, okay. Greater or equal to 8. Nice. And let's also add another one to horizontal spacing. No. This 8. And save area guide. Nice. Okay. And now we can also say the same, greater or equal to 8. And I want this to be centered, center horizontally, and we have it. So basically, let's run it again and see if we have what we were looking for. Yes, we have our toggle. I do agree, I do not agree. By default, this thing will be, well, I think I'll set it as disabled, and users must decide to tap, and by the time that they tap it, or we can just force them to, okay, I agree, and this is actually a button. I think it will be even better. Yeah, better. Okay, let's go back here, and I will take this text. As I am recording this thing now, we are taking a lot of resources from the Mac button. So I'll place instead a button. Okay, and all right, in here. And we can also increase the gap between those two. Otherwise, by the time that users tap here, they can also tap on the button, which is not desired. So I'll add it to 20 or maybe 25. Okay. And here we're going to have 2 actions. One to activate. As soon as the toggle is activated, this button will also be enabled. And another one that will display the terms and conditions UI on top of everything. That's our goal for, that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do next. All right, let's jump into the code. So view controller. First of all, I need to have an way to interact or to know when the toggle was tapped. Let's go over there. Let's go over to the storyboard again. I will open the assistant, show editor, no, here. And I'll make this thing a little bit bigger. And in here we have this guy. Okay. Yes, just the action. Lifecycle, extension, sign in. Okay, we have the logging action. I'll add it right here. So let's have the action value changed. Okay. Did tap. Well, that's quite a hard task now to find a good name. Did tap agree? Yeah. All right, switch, and this is the type we're going to get. Did tap toggle switch. Did tap switch. Okay, and now we are able to take or to read what is coming from this component, this switch. For instance, we can just print it out. Okay, with param sender dot, I think it's value, or what is the property image is on? Yes, that's exactly what I want. So we can run it now, but before that, let's also make sure that we have an action for the did tab C terms and conditions. Terms AC terms and conditions. Yeah, did terms show terms and conditions. Show terms and conditions. Cool. And now we have those two actions, and this is basically the starting point to the entire flow we are about to create. Show DC UI. Running it again. Let's show our console. All right, so false, true, false, true. And if I tap on the button, I also show the terms and conditions UI. That's what we want. Okay. Okay, nice. And now we are supposed to take these actions, right, and communicate to the presenter, which is in charge of talking to the router, that in the end will say, okay, show something to me because we just got this order or this request. So login tab, no, D tab switch. Actually, we have something that we can do here. We can associate the login button enable state to this is on, right? Otherwise the button will not be enabled. Let's see how it works. Is enabled will be true only if this guy is on, right? So basically we already have partially what we want, I guess. So we don't even need to go into the presenter to take any action. But as I'm not tracking this app right now, and if I would to do so, it would be interesting, or it would be a better design decision if I could delegate this action into my presenter, because then I could track if the users are tapping back and forth into the terms and conditions, because I will be basically making it default to true, but once I tap it to false, then it doesn't work anymore. True, now we have it. And that's the default value. And if they tap here, okay, they cannot move forward. I'll leave it the way it is. I think it's enough for this time, for the time being. And now let's concentrate our efforts. I'll also activate my Pomodoro time here, which is cool to have. And let's move along with show terms and conditions UI. As I said, we will be talking to the presenter saying, hey, let's show the terms and conditions UI. And the presenter is this, no, I have it as presenter. Who would guess that? Show terms and conditions. Show terms and conditions. That's basically what we want. Show terms and conditions. Nice, but presenter doesn't have this thing. Actually, the interface we're talking to, which is called in the iOS world protocol. That's the guy we shall be talking to. So we have a func, which is show terms and conditions. And now this error will be gone, and we are supposed to go into the presenter. And there we go. But our presenter extends, or this extension into the presenter will force us to implement the method. And here we are. We just implemented the method, and we are supposed to delegate this thing to somebody, which I said router, but well, basically just a very disclaimer here. I was using this VIPER module generator that I found on GitHub, and it turns out that this VIPER module generator, it creates some components that have a different name than the ones used by VIPER, and I just realized that right now. So anyway, this is basically the router that we see within the VIPER structure. So as long as every time we look into wireframe, just typecast it into router in your head. And this guy is actually another interface. Okay, and here we'll say show terms and conditions. Basically, that's what we want. We're just piping this event into other layers of the VIPER structure. So wireframe dot show terms and conditions. I'm just delegating it back. And here, as I said, the same thing could happen if we were to have some tracking operation. We could have it right here, and we would know how many users are tapping into see terms and conditions. And our view controller doesn't know about it at all, which is great. Let's take this and go into the wireframe and do the same. So we're just delegating it back. Right now we are supposed to have this communication, and I suppose someone is implementing this, or sorry, this one. Okay, searching, okay, sign in, okay, presenter, fine, here, and extensions, no one, okay. All right, yes, exactly here, sorry, yeah, that's where we want. And we're routing this or piping this action into the signing wireframe, sorry, wireframe. And this wireframe is basically, as I said, the router, and the router is in charge of handling navigation within the VIPER implementation or architecture. Let's go back, coding, yes, here, sign in wireframe, okay. And here we are supposed to take this action and properly show our web view with our terms and conditions. First thing we need is an URL with the EC, and we also need a way to present this web view. Now let's go over to Google and iOS show we can see what we need to have. It's Safari services. Safari something, Safari services. Yes, exactly. Let's go to google.com, enter reader if available true, okay, and this present, this is not what we want. I am expecting, so we have the storyboard, and I think module view controller, this guy should have a property view controller. I think that's the one we are looking for. Yes, exactly. But now let's, I always prefer to go with a guard, then having if statements, because with that we end the decision earlier. And if we manage to create a URL using this string, we're good to go, and we're able to present our web view. Otherwise, we have just a return. Here would be a lovely place to have a log operation like print. URL could not be created, something. But okay. And I think if we run this, we will be able to see our terms and conditions page. Right, all right, it's coming. Animated through. All right. Yes. Okay, we have our Google page being loaded. Once we're done, we just come right here. So that's basically it. Now I will be working on a proper URL, maybe tweak a few things and make sure this thing is well implemented. But basically, as you saw, we have the view controller. We have added the button. This action is associated to the button. And from here, we're talking to the delegate. The delegate then presenter, we're talking to the delegate of the presenter. The presenter talks back to the wireframe, which, as I said, is basically our router. And the router talks to, sign in wireframe. The router received this message. And our view controller doesn't know anything about what is happening in here. We could also, someone could just argue with me and say, okay, but you could just place this chunk of code into your view controller. Yes, but then this is something that makes our view controllers grow and grow, and that's why we have the massive view controller problem, because we don't have separation of concerns. And if we're doing something like this, we're just, our view controller, the view controller is just saying, hey, I need something to be done, but I don't know. I just delegate it to whomever have the given the responsibility, and that's our goal. And with that, we have a cleaner and more maintainable code base. I hope you liked this video. I hope you have learned something, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.